القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. The month of Rajab has set, and we are now in one of the holy months that it is a great time for us to reconnect to God. It is a great time for us to worship Allah. When the month of Rajab came in, Rasulullah, it is quoted in Bihar saying that, thank you, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله إذا جاء شهر رجب جمع المسلمين حوله وقام فيهم. He gathered the Muslimin when the month of Rajab came and had a khutbah. أيها المسلمون قد أظلكم شهر عظيم مبارك. He spoke of the month of Rajab being shahrun azim, a great month. Meaning for us, dear believer, not to take this month lightly. It's azim, it's a great month. 2, it's mubarak. It's blessed for you. It has barakat for you. It has different favors of God in this month. وَهُوَ شَهْرُ الْأَصَبِ. Maybe you heard of Rajabul Asab. Sab in Arabic means to pour. Today it was raining. But I don't know if it was pouring or not. But it is spiritually raining as well, because it is pouring the rahmat of Allah. يُصِيبُ فِيهِ الرَّحْمَةِ عَلَىٰ أَبْدًا. In this month, it is raining and pouring the rahmat and mercy of Allah. So we are striving to be of the Rajabiyun, those that have honored this month, those that have fasted in this month. Fasting in this month will equate to being able to drink from the river of Rajab, which is wider than milk, sweeter than honey. And this, one of the great actions is fasting. The other are the du'as and supplications that are specific for the month of Rajab. We do those, some of them after, for example, the prayers and salat that we do. The other is ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, even from afar. From the beginning of Rajab, there is a ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The ziyarat of the Imams. In general, ziyarat and visitation of the Imams is worth more in Rajab. Also, Umrah of Rajab. Those that can do it. We know some from this community that are right now in Medina, Mecca, and they are performing Umrah right now, an Umrah of Rajab. So it is a great month. I recommend for you to take part of this great mercy and blessing of Allah, and to make sure if you have fasts that you have not done and they're lapsed and you need to make up for them, to make sure that this month you take care of those fasts. It is January. It doesn't get easier than this, and it's raining. You don't get thirsty. It's like skipping a breakfast or lunch, and then they do the adhan. It just gets a little bit harder and harder later on. So it is a great month for us to refocus and to get prepared for Shahr Ramadan. As mentioned, tomorrow night will be the Wiladat and blessed birth anniversary of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. And for many of us that we know how important this Imam is. Many of us have gone to Qadhimiyya in Baghdad to do his ziyarat. Many of us have done the ziyarat of Ali ibn Musa al-Rida alayhi salam, and they would instruct us, when you want to enter and visit Imam Rida, enter through the door of Bab al-Jawad alayhi salam. Why? Because Imam Rida alayhi salam truly loves his son Jawad. And our scholars, our teachers would teach us, when you go to the shrine of Imam Rida in Mashhad, to swear, to call Imam Rida and swear him by his son Jawad. To swear his son, if you want to put Imam Rida in a corner to get your hawa'ij, swear him by his son Imam Jawad, swear him by his mother Fatimatu Zahra alayhi salam, inshallah you get your hawa'ij and things that you pray for. Why? Because Imam Jawad alayhi salam was one of the youngest imams that we had. First imam that became an imam at the age of 8. Became imam at the age of 8. He was shaheed and martyred at the age of 25. So he was born in 195 after Hijrah. I recommend to memorize the years in Arabic, lunar calendar. So 195. Remember, we have 250 years after the Prophet of physical life of the imams with the communities. So around 10, 11 is when the Prophet passed away. To the year 260 is when Imam Hassan Askari, the 11th Imam, passes away. So 260, the ghaybat starts. So this 250 years, we're blessed with imamat. From Imam Ali alayhi salam to Imam Hassan Askari, all of them protecting Islam, spreading Islam, and preserving the appropriate and right teachings of Rasulullah. So what happened in this about 17 years that Imam Jawad was imam? So from 250 years, 17 years of imamat is the portion of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Many people think that during this time period where there was much pressure because they didn't want Ma'mun, did not want the same thing to happen to Imam Rida alayhi salam, to the other imams. He became very, extremely popular in the Muslim community and Ummah, Imam Rida alayhi salam. So much so that they would call his son Ibn Rida alayhi salam, son of Rida. They would call Imam Hadi, his grandson, Ibn Rida alayhi salam. Some say they would call Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam also Ibn Rida. All these would be sons of Imam Rida. Why? Because Imam Rida became very popular in the Muslim world. So Ma'mun had to do something, think of something, what to do about Imam Jawad, his son. So one of the ideas that he had was to bring him to Baghdad, because Ma'mun moved the capital from Marv, which was modern-day Turkmenistan, into Iraq. He moved and he wanted to bring Imam Jawad there. He made him in a way marry his daughter al-Fadl, who later on became the killer of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. But yet he did not have any children with al-Fadl. Instead, he had children with another wife that was later on, the father of Imam Hadi, the mother of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. So you see that the life of Imam Jawad is his father's Imam Rida alayhi salam. His mother is Sabika. And the wife that he has, the mother of Imam Hadi and the other children, are Samana Maghrabiya. Sometimes we don't remember the mothers of the Imams. It's important to learn the mothers of the Imams because these were the most pious of people. Yes, sometimes the Imams would marry someone, forced to marry them, but they didn't have actually any spiritual significance. Actually, they're killers, like al-Fadl, for example. And just you have in the Quran, for example, some of the prophets, their wives were not good people in the Quran. But you see here that the mothers of Imams are special. And when Allah wants to bring forth an Imam, He appoints a special person that can be able to deliver and be able to raise such a blessed child. Imam Rida, some say it was the age of 47. They were wondering what's going on in his 40s. Because they knew that the Imams from after Imam Hussein, each son would be the next Imam. Each son will be the next Imam. They're wondering, why doesn't Imam Rida, the 8th Imam, have a child? Why doesn't he have any offspring? Maybe he's not the Imam. And do you know who would say this? The Waqifis. Those that ended Imamat from Imam Kadhim. There were those that stopped Imamat from Imam Kadhim, the 7th Imam. And there they became known as Waqifiyya. Waqf in Arabic means to stop. They didn't accept Imam Rida. Why do you think they did this? One reason was because Imam Kadhim alayhi salam had agents, had wakala, and they had gathered the money, khums, other money possibly, And Imam Kadhim was in prison for years upon years. So when he was martyred, they took the money and they said, you know what? Imam Kadhim is the last Imam. After that, we're going to take this money. And then they attacked Imam Rida alayhi salam and said, he doesn't have a son either. So let's take the money for ourselves. It was because of this vast amount of money that encouraged some to only be 6 imamis, to have 6 imams. Because their leaders took to have 7 imams. Sorry, Waqaf, he has 7 imams. So it's for their leaders to take the money of the imam. So then they contested Imam Rida, said, you're not the imam either. You don't have a son. So it became very important now that the birth of Imam Jawad alayhi salam showed that Imam Rida alayhi salam was the true imam. So then when he was born, there are some special statements that I haven't seen with other imams. That when Imam Rida, at the age of maybe 47, Allah gives him the son who he names Muhammad. And his laqab is Jawad, for generosity. I was looking at some of the sayings of ulama, even those that have hatred towards Ahlul Bayt, like Ibn Taymiyyah, talks about Imam Jawad being very generous. His Jawad means to be very generous, to take care of people. Even people like Ibn Taymiyyah talk about Imam Jawad being very generous. So this child is born. And the traditions are this. Listen to these traditions about Imam Jawad Isam. From Imam Rida Isam. This is a child more blessed than him is not born for our followers. The barakat of Imam Jawad in this hadith is unparalleled to any other person that is born. Why do you think Imam Jawad alayhi salam has so much barakat, so much blessings? There are so many imams that were born. Some say because of the situation at that time, Imamate was in danger. So when he was born, he saved Imamate and he also removed those false sayings about Imam Rida alayhi salam. Also, you can say that Imam Jawad particularly has barakat. And they recommend tawassul and beseeching Imam Jawad alayhi salam when it comes to marriage, for example, or things, affairs of this world, which we need barakat for and blessings for, to approach him, to do his ziyarah, to test it, try it. If you have financial difficulty, problems, do tawassul to Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Inshallah, Allah will remove that. Then we have other traditions from the Imam, same thing, that this is the child, more blessed than him is, no more than blessed than him is ever born. Other traditions comparing him to like the birth of Musa alayhi salam, the birth of Isa alayhi salam, the birth of Jesus, the birth of Moses. Because when Allah wants to send His final religion, He is going to send the best messenger and He's going to choose the best imams and protectors of religion. So therefore the imams are the best of people. This is a test for people though, because now Imam Jawad alayhi salam is 8 years of age. His father becomes poisoned by Ma'mun, buried in the city of Mashhad. Now people are confused. People are going to be tested to see who is a true Shia or not. Who's really going to submit to the will of Allah. Are you going to choose an 8-year-old to be your imam? Especially at that time when age was so important. How is my imam going to be 8 years of age? True, Imam Hadi was 8 years of age. Imam Mahdi Ajallah Ta'ala Fajr was 5 years of age when he became imam. True. But this is the first time an 8-year-old is going to become the imam. So some people began, again, those that were weak in iman, Allah caused this, and people were struggling and saying, is Imam Jawad really the next imam or not? But then you have scholars like Ali ibn Ja'far, 90-year-old scholar, teacher, and he would give the utmost respect to Imam Jawad. Actually, he was in so many generations in front of Imam Jawad. Ali ibn Ja'far, old, pious man who loved Imam Jawad. He was actually the son, Ali ibn Ja'far, the son of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, the son of the 6th Imam, uncle of brother of Imam Musa, I call them, uncle of Imam Rida, great great uncle of Imam Jawad. The great uncle of Imam Jawad comes and he's teaching class, and then Imam Jawad comes in. He stands up, for example, giving respect to him. They're wondering, what are you doing? He's 8 years of age, for example. Why are you respecting him? You're 90 years of age. And he says, for example, they say that he would sit in front of the Imam learning from him, very humbly learning from him. In one of the occurrences that we have in Usul al-Kafi, it says one day Imam Jawad came to the masjid of Rasulullah, Masjidun Nabi, but not Masjid Nabi in West Covina, Masjid Nabi in the city of Medina. There, Imam Jawad came, and then Ali ibn Ja'far suddenly jumped without shoes. Without shoes. This old man, 90-year-old, for an 8-year-old. Or garment, Abba maybe, and kissed his hand and glorified him. Began to kiss the hand of Imam Jawad. Imam Jawad looked at him and said to him, "Oh uncle," is his great uncle. "Oh uncle, sit down please. May Allah have mercy on you. Sit down, uncle." Ali ibn Ja'far respectfully said, "Oh my master, how can I sit while you are standing?" A 90-year-old. See how some people have ma'rifat and understanding of imamat, even if they're 90 years of age. They don't question and say, well, I'm the son of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq. Why didn't God give me imamat? Who are you? You're 8 years of age. I'm older than you. But some submitted to the will of Allah, like Ali ibn Ja'far. And the tradition has Imam Jawad went away, and then Ali ibn Ja'far returned to his companions. They began scolding him for glorifying Imam Jawad at such a young age. They said to him, "You are the uncle of his father. You are the uncle of his father. So why do you act this way to him?" What is the answer of Ali ibn Ja'far? He said this. He said, "Keep silent. It is Allah who has not qualified this beard for imamat." Allah has not qualified the white beard of Ali ibn Ja'far. He shows it and says, God has not qualified me for imamat. God has not chosen me, and has qualified this young man and placed him in the position according to his will. We seek the protection of Allah for what you say. I am just a slave to Jawad. I'm just a slave to him. I am an abd to him. So see, brothers and sisters, that when it comes to imamat and Allah tests us, see, Allah is giving knowledge to a child. We need to be able to understand that the learning and the way that Allah gives knowledge is different to imams. Some people, they write books, for example, of Imam Sadiq. They're doing a favor. For example, some of them are Ahlul Sunnah. They write books on Imam Sadiq, Abu Hanifa, Ahmad ibn Hanbal. They put them, and then they have, for example, a section called The Teachers of Imam Sadiq. Imam Sadiq does not have teachers. He has students. He does not have teachers. Does not have teachers in this meaning. They say mashayikh, meaning teachers like normal people. He does not have teachers. Yes, Imam Baqir alayhi salam, yes, Rasulullah taught all the imams, and Allah also taught, but he does not have mashayikh. When you read, for example, the books of Rajal, it said, who is his mashayikh? He doesn't have mashayikh. This is the knowledge generally that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam had, or the imams had, is ladunni knowledge, ilham, inspiration. Why do they need to have this knowledge, do you think? So that Islam can be protected. Because they're doing bayan of the Quran. They have knowledge of the Quran. They have knowledge of beliefs. If it's just going to be a normal scholar, there would be tahrif in Islam. There would be change in Islam. Just how other religions like Christianity, Judaism changed. The same thing would happen, as the Prophet says in Shia Sunni Hadith, that you will follow the other religion step by step. There will be tahrif and change. So therefore, we see that ilham is the way that Allah gives knowledge to an 8-year-old child. Now let's analyze this a little bit. Is it possible that God can give knowledge to a child? One of the answers we have is in Quran. The answers to this is Quran. Let's read the Holy Quran. Actually, every time you talk about the miraculous nature of the Prophet and his family, you see other examples in the Quran. When they say, why did, for example, this Imam have this karama? I was talking about the life of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, and I was reading in the book Bihar al-Anwar. Allama Majlisi has a section of the miracles of Imam Hadi. I was reading, and I went to 44. 44 miracles of Imam Hadi alayhi salam. So you say, how can Imam perform miracles? Well, don't you have Isa alayhi salam giving life to the dead, curing the sick with a touch, informing people of what's in their homes, having knowledge of the unseen? When God can give this knowledge to a prophet and those that are sent from him, then he cannot give it also to an imam that is protecting the last religion? When God even gave knowledge to others that were not prophets, to some, for example, the mother of Moses, and informing her that Moses will be sent back to you in the future. God cannot give knowledge to others. So let's see an example in the Holy Quran where God gives knowledge from himself. What animal, for example, insect do we have that has inspiration, has wahi, has revelation? Very good. Let's read the surah and do not look at these notes from there. You have sharp eyes. Do not look at these notes anymore. وَأَوْحَى Quran mentions وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ. What is the 16th surah of the Quran? Look at it. Is it Surah Al-Nahl? Verse 68 and 69. And your Lord inspired to the bee. Who did he inspire? Revelation. Awha means wahi. God inspired inspiration to the bee. And ittakhadha min al-jibal buyutan, to take from the mountains houses. How do they know to go to the mountains? Allah inspired the bee. There's no bee school that they go to, for example, to ride and learn how to this perform. Naturally, they do it because Allah inspired them. The Quran is attributing this knowledge of the bee to himself. We have them. Awhayna, we, your Lord, Rabbuk, so Awha Rabbuk, your Lord inspired the bee to take for yourselves among the mountains houses and among the trees in which they construct. Then eat thumma kuli min kull thamarat fasluki subala rabbik. Right? Then it says this part, يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف الألوان. Emerges from the bellies of these bees a drink varying in color. Sometimes you have, say, orange bee, honey. Sometimes you have dark brown honey. Sometimes it's almost black honey. Different colors. Quran says, shafa'un lin-nas, which is a healing for the people. So God has inspired in Quran, your Rabb has given revelation to the bee to take for the mountains homes, and emerging from the bees is honey. Have you ever investigated about honey and saw that this shafa, this cure that we see about honey, it has a few characteristics. Has anybody ever left honey outside of their home, outside of the refrigerator for a while? Inshallah, a bear did not come to their house, but some that actually live in some of the mountains, St. Gabriel, if you throw honey away, the bears will come and come towards the trash. They smell it very fast. But one issue is that it does not have a shelf life. Honey, you can leave it out maybe for 1,000 years. It doesn't spoil. That's one miraculous aspect of honey, which in the Quran is saying we taught the bee to do this. The second aspect is it has always been shafa, a cure. Even today, if you have an injury or wound, one of the things they say you put honey on, honey has the ability to take moisture out of that infection, out of that wound, and therefore it is a cure for that. Also consuming honey. Consuming honey is also, you see, a cure for us. So if God can give this knowledge to the honeybee to do such and produce honey for us, which is today medicine, can he also give this knowledge to a human being, Imam Jawad, and give him inspiration? So the same God that gave the bees information and knowledge to be able to do this can also is the same God that can give Imam Jawad alayhi salam knowledge. So for us, this is a good example of revelation or inspiration or knowledge that is from God in the Holy Quran. Let's recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa Jafar. So what kind of knowledge did Imam Jawad have? If you're saying that he had knowledge from God, do you have any evidence in history or at such a young age that he presents this knowledge? Of course we do. The story of Yahya, for example, the jurist, Aktham. Yahya Aktham was Qadi al-Qudat. Who are Qadi al-Qudat? They are the supreme judge. In the US, we have, for example, the Supreme Court has multiple judges. But in other countries, you have the Supreme Chief Justice, for example. And this Chief Justice is the one that passes rulings on everything. So now it's Yahya al-Aktham or Aktham. He's coming because Imam Ma'mun wanted to have his daughter be married to Imam Jawad alayhi salam. So therefore he presents the scholars, the people with a debate. And they're asking, why do you want to be able to marry your daughter to Imam Jawad alayhi salam? And he mentions to them that look at his knowledge. Let's bring this debate. So the Chief Justice is going to debate someone that is a young of age. I don't know exactly the age of Imam Jawad now at this time, but young age Imam that became Imam at the age of 8. So the debate starts. And this is one of those interesting debates that Imam Jawad has, Imam Rida has, in the court, in front of everyone. So it's recorded. So the debate starts, and Yahya ibn Aktham asks a difficult question. He asks about, what is your verdict about a man who indulges in hunting while he is in the state of ihram? He is in a state of ihram. Can you hunt while you're muhrim or not? What is the ruling of that? Can you hunt? Very for us, simple question maybe. But now let's see how Imam Jawad is going to win the debate with asking him questions only, not even a reply, from questions. And he asks, you should have definitely mentioned whether he has hunted with the jurisdiction of Kaaba or outside. Where did he hunt? 2, was he literate or was he illiterate? 3, was he a slave or was he free? All of these has different rulings. 4, was it his first time doing this or did he do this previously? 5, was also the victim of that prey, was it the hunt, was it a bird or was it some other creature? Was it a small or big animal, for example? Was it in daytime or nighttime? Did the hunter repent for his actions or did he not repent for his actions? Was it done secretly or was it done openly? Was the ihram for umrah or was the ihram for hajj? Until you give me all this 10, 11 conditions, I cannot answer you. And then the Supreme Chief Justice, the Chief Justice of the Abbasid Caliphate became baffled and became speechless and could not answer anymore. So you see, the knowledge that Imams had proven that, first of all, we say that we claim that they have knowledge from God. You see over and over and over from all the debates they had, from the different Imams we had, that they had a knowledge that everyone would say is different than everyone else. Unparalleled to any type of scholar. Now let's learn more from the knowledge of Imam Jawad in the end of this lecture. I don't want to bother you too much. We're getting close to wrapping things up. Let's learn a little bit from the wise sayings of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. We talked about his knowledge. First advice that I'm going to give from Imam Jawad is an interesting letter. A person by the name of Bakr ibn Saleh says, one of my kin wrote this letter to Abu Ja'far. Abu Ja'far al-Thani is Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Abu Ja'far the first is Imam Baqir alayhi salam. I wrote this letter to Abu Ja'far saying that this son has a question, and he writes that my father is an enemy of Ahlul Bayt. My father is a Nasibi, someone that we say is an enemy of Ahlul Bayt. They take the family of the Prophet and they hate them. Actually, in the tradition we have, a Nasibi is anjas, is more najis than a dog. We have in the traditions, someone who hates Ahlul Bayt is more najis than a dog. So therefore, the Imam wants to advise him. He says, I met distresses and difficulties with him, with my father. He's a Nasibi. I'm a lover of Ahlul Bayt. What should I do? Would you please pray for me? What should I do? The Imam answers in this letter, attributed to him, قَدْ فَهِمْتُ كِتَابَكِ, I have understood your letter. وَمَا ذَكَرْتَ مِنْ أَمْرِ أَبِيكِ وَلَسْتُ أَدْعُ الدُّعَاء لَكِ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. I'm going to continue to make dua for you. وَالْمُدَارَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْمُكَاشَفَةِ. This is Islam. Beautiful. He's Nasibi. He is saying things against Imam Ali, for example. Very easy to say, do away with him. Get away from him. He's najis, whatever. But here it says, for you to have forbearance, for you to cope and deal with him, have mudara with him, is better than you fighting with him, with you talking to him openly and arguing with him, for example. Be patient with your father. He's Nasibi. He hates Ahlul Bayt. But he is your father. Have patience with him. Have mudara with him. وَمَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرِ. And after hardship there is ease. Inshallah soon, this hardship that you have. And this is, very important for us, that many times we have converts, many times we have people that change madhabs, and they are stuck with a family that is against them, against their beliefs. And if you incorporate this hadith, or sometimes you want to do something and your parents are against you, remember, no matter what, even if your parents are Nasibi, haters of Ahlul Bayt, Imam Jawad in this hadith is saying that mudara with them is better than openly even arguing with them. This is the position of parents in Islam. That even if they have a completely 180 degrees theology than you, beliefs, that you respect them. The second quote is, we're running out of time. We're running way over time. I'm just going to go to the last hadith. Is this hadith from Imam Jawad alayhi salam. We have many other hadith that I had prepared, but we'll go to this hadith. This is the last piece of advice from Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Very famous hadith in Tuhaf al-Uqul. Al-mu'min yahtaj ila thalatha khisal. A believer needs to have three attributes, three characteristics, three qualities. What are the three qualities that a believer needs to have? One, tawfiqun or tawfiqin min Allah. Khisalin tawfiqin min Allah. To have success from God. وَوَاعِذٌ min nafsih. Advice, an advisor from where? Himself. He needs to advise himself. And the third, وَقَبُولٍ مِمَّنْ يَنْسَحُهُ. In acceptance from that person that is giving him advice. Three things Imam Jawad alayhi salam, with his knowledge, says we need to have. One is tawfiq, success. To have muwafaqat. The root word comes from wafaqa. To be able to be in line, you can say, with the will of Allah. Translated as success. Brothers and sisters, there's this concept called tawfiq that maybe in the West we're not very familiar with. Because in our traditions, in the Quran, we don't have time, but I saw at least 2 times in the Quran, Prophet Shu'aib once uses this word tawfiq and mentions that I'm coming for islah, mastata'at, whatever I'm capable of doing islah and reforming. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And my tawfiq and my success is up to Allah. Is this islah going to happen or not? It depends on God. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do my duty. But am I going to be successful or not? That depends on God. So this is the concept that the success or the realization or actualization of things is not in our hands. Okay? For example, I want to get married, right? But whatever I try different, for example, there's different, sites, there's different, communities, there's different people, different aunts. I tried everything. For example, I can't get married. I don't have a tawfiq yet because that part is up to Allah. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for good income. Whatever I try, I have great ideas. I look at so many other people, for example, and they're not as smart, half as smart as me, for example, and yet I don't have tawfiq. I don't have success from God. I want to be a very learned person. I study so hard, but some people are just more successful. So there's this concept in Islam that you're actually looking for this blessing, this tawfiq from God. And Imam Jawad alayhi salam says, look for that tawfiq. A mu'min has to be muwaffaq, has to be successful. You see some in life, they're very successful. When it comes to money, when it comes to income, when it comes to worship, when it comes to salat al-layl, for example, when it comes to fasting, they have a lot of tawfiq. When it comes to writing books, when it comes to speeches, for example, they have lots of tawfiq. What is this tawfiq and how can I get it? And what are some of the barriers? So tawfiq is teaching us a concept that not everything is in your hands. The first part is in your hands that you try. You do whatever you can to be able to be muwaffaq, for example. The first part in hadith, it says, من سأل الله التوفيق ولم يجتهد فقد استهزأ بنفسه or استهزأ بنفسه. Whoever says, I want tawfiq from God, but doesn't try, then he has only ridiculed and made fun of himself. The first thing is trying. For example, I want to be very educated. I want to have good grades. I can't just sit there and not pay attention in class and not study and say, God, give me good grades, for example. I want to have a good income. I can't stop showing up to work and not be serious about my work and say, God, give me a good income. That first part of tawfiq from this hadith from Imam Rida means that you should try. You have a responsibility yourself. And you have to find the means and methods of whatever happens, and you have to try. So the first thing is not to ask for tawfiq and not try. Then you've only ridiculed yourself. The second thing that we see that causes tawfiq is dua. Many times there are barriers, things are locked up for us. We don't even know. Spiritually, what I'm trying to say is look at things in life differently through a spiritual lens. Look at life as conventional, physical factors and also spiritual factors. Sometimes our world is locked spiritually. We don't even know. There's different ways to open it up. One of the ways is dua, asking God. Asking God over and over and over. I want to get married, for example, and I'm asking God over and over to give me, I'm looking for a child. Imam Rida had a son at the age of 47, for example. Let me say, I ask God repetitively, not just once, twice. It's part of my lifestyle to make dua for myself over. I keep asking sincerely, with certainty, I make dua. And we have in the books, it says, to عليك بالاستعانة بإلهك ورغبة إليه في توفيقك. I have raghbah towards the tawfiq of Allah. The third is من أكبر التوفيق الأخذ نصيحة. Take advice. Sometimes we have people, they don't listen to others. If you want to be successful, find those that their consultation is worthy, they're educated, they can give you good advice. Listen to their advice. Then we have another set of other narrations that cause tawfiq to be removed, deprive those spiritual tawfiqat. One of those, for example, is salat al-layl. Being able to have the tawfiq of waking up or praying the night prayer. The tradition has this, إِنَّ الرَّجُلْ يَذْنُبْ الذنب فيحرم الصلاة or يحرم صلاة الليل. One person, he sins, and because of that sin, the tawfiq of doing the night prayer is gone from him. He sins, he backbites, he makes a rumor about someone, He looks at something he should not have looked at, for example. Says, here's something he shouldn't have heard it. And then God takes from him that tawfiq of Salat al-Layl. God takes from them that ziyarat, for example, trip you're supposed to have. God takes away from them hajj. God takes from them barakat of money. God takes away from them everything that was good for them because of sins. So then there are also factors that we're looking at that deprive our tawfiq. So a Muslim not only thinks, he's not a materialist, that he thinks that, okay, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to be successful. He says, no, it is in the hands of God. Even Prophet Shu'aib, when he's saying, I'm going to advise the people, I'm going to change them, Quran, he says that tawfiq is from Allah. Is this really going to happen? Some prophets only had like a few followers. Does that mean they did anything wrong? No. But God granted tawfiq to others. This is up to God. There's this other dua that we have in Abu Hamza Thamali, there's not enough time, that talks about why some people don't have the tawfiq of paying attention in their salat. Some, when it comes to salat time, they become very tired. It's too hard, salat. They think of everywhere else. I'm talking about myself. I'm tired. But if you tell me right now, let's go to something fun. Let's go to all-you-can-eat buffet, for example. I will rush in the car. I have lots of energy. But when it comes to some ibadah and worshipping Allah, a little bit 2 extra units of prayer, I don't feel like it. It's so hard for me. Why? Dua Abu Hamza mentions. Why? Because you attended the majlis of the batilin, those that were false, those that were wasting their time. Or other parts, it says why you have left the majlis of the ulama. You have left the gathering of the scholars. And yet you have went and approached the majlis of the batilin. Those that are just talking about random things. Their life does not have any purpose. They're just living life like, God forbid, like an animal, just eating and drinking, not knowing what they're doing. Because you kept gathering and these were your friends, God has taken away from you that attentiveness, paying attention in salah. That munajat, that lidha, one of the sins, first things that God takes away when a person sins is the tawfiq of enjoying munajat and speaking to God. He sins, he thinks, sometimes we sin, we think, okay, I'm going to get into a car accident now, that was a horrible sin. No, first thing happens, God doesn't want you to talk to him anymore. That tawfiq of talking to him in the middle of the night, worshiping him, crying, of being able to cry for God, God takes that away. And whatever I try, I can't cry anymore in my worship. So all of these things, we're looking for tawfiq. And what causes tawfiq? 1, trying the conventional methods. 2, making dua. 3, what increases a lot of tawfiq? Parents. Making your parents happy, your father happy, your mother happy. If they've passed away, making dua for them. This is all tawfiqat. So mu'min is looking for, okay, my life, there's something tied up. How can I unravel this spiritually? And you're looking for it. You come and you make dua. You connect to Imam Jawad alayhi salam. We ask Allah tonight, may Allah, inshallah, because of the barakat of this blessed child who's born and this blessed Imam, inshallah, unravel, untie all those knots that we have in our life that are caused by our sins, caused by our negligence, caused from us not listening to advice of others. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjan farajah.